Now, I've said it once and I'll say it again, Deadpool and Wolverine is the only saving grace for the Walt Disney Company for 2024, specifically when it comes to one of their divisions, such as the Marvel Studios. We all know that 2023 was a very rough year for them for obvious reasons. Everything that happened with the Marvels, labeling itself as the worst MCU opening in Marvel history. We've all seen what happened there, and everything else tumbled afterwards based on what Kevin Feige talked about with the Marvels and Bob Iger going into damage control mode over that. But looking at Deadpool and Wolverine, we know that Ryan Reynolds, Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, Hugh Jackman, Shawn Levy, the Big Five, right, really took a stand against the Disney heads, the Disney executives, including Bob Iger, the CEO, to get things done their way with Deadpool and Wolverine. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So, Joy Behar, we know that she is by far one of the worst television hosts in history, if not, of course, if you even want to call her a television host, to be quite honest. I think that she's nothing more than an activist. But looking at everything else related to Joy Behar, we all know that she goes on endless rants about the most nonsense things out there, and it doesn't get any better when you begin to trash Ryan Reynolds and the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine movie based on its R rating. Now, we all know that this is going to be one of the most iconic movies in very, very, recent times. We know that it very well may be something as iconic as No Way Home or Avengers Endgame, depending on where it all goes. So far, based on the 35 minutes that were shown to audience members, it is phenomenal. It has a lot of things that just work very well. But let's get into this about what Joy Behar had to say. Now, with the Walt Disney Company and all of its divisions going through various setbacks, one major development now has more to do with Ryan Reynolds and the drama surrounding Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, with Joy Behar talking about the upcoming film, she recently delivered the following. So, we have Deadpool and Wolverine coming out. It's R-rated, and it's by Disney, and I never thought I would see the day when you have those invested in this project, like Ryan Reynolds and Shawn Levy, really pushing for an R rating, or an R-rated project. To my knowledge, Disney and Bob Iger really wanted to make this PG-13 in the beginning, and Ryan was really putting Disney into a tough position by making it R-rated. The problem I have with those leading this movie are that they claim Disney gave them the go-ahead to make this R-rated. I remember Ryan really wanted to make it clear that R-rated was the only way to go with a character like Deadpool or Wolverine, and R movies are never the answer. I mean, I'm a mother, and with my kids, and when they were younger, they never really did, and I never think, of course, and never thought of them going into an R-rated film. So I think Ryan is really gambling with his credibility with what Disney does over at Marvel and what younger audiences are used to with PG-13. I really think Ryan is making a serious mistake by doubling down to make this R-rated. If they were smart, they would cut back on some of the intense scenes and mark this PG-13. If they wanted to bring in more family-friendly groups to see this film. And look, I know Bob Iger very well, and I have had my differences with him over the years, but I never thought I would be standing here to see the day that there would be an R-rated movie, an R-rated Marvel movie at that. It's not good for younger audiences with all the cursing and swearing, and it's just not healthy for those that want entertainment. Marvel is for kids, and Disney needs to remember that. Bob needs to remember that. And I don't know how Ryan convinced them to do this, but I just think it's a very big gamble with Mr. Iger. You can't just expect positive and successful results by over-swearing and sort of twisting these superheroes like Wolverine to have the mouth of a sailor. If they were smart, they would maybe reconsider, approach this with a more family-friendly take on the two. And I know Deadpool is a character of Ryan's creation, but he needs to realize that this is Disney. Of all the years I have been here on The View and for Disney and really support almost everything that they do, almost. What I don't support are full-blown R-rated movies that convince such a younger demographic to check out movies like this. So, here's an interesting thing before I move on about what Joy Behar is spewing about this. Now, she claims that R-rated movies are not a selling point for Marvel. I absolutely beg to differ. In fact, I heavily disagree. If anything, it's going to drag in a lot more people to check out a Marvel movie. Now look, this is exactly why Deadpool and Wolverine and the upcoming Blade movie, if done properly, and we have a lot more to talk about Blade, by the way, if they film that correctly, if they get it done correctly, it could very well be as successful as Deadpool and Wolverine is expected to be. Now look, we already talked about how this movie is going to be littered with cameos, with very surprising moments that are not only going to fit in with the multiverse aspect, and I know, look, fans are getting very tired of the multiverse, and we all know that Deadpool and Wolverine's going to make fun of that to a degree as well. And we have to remember that Deadpool is a fourth wall breaker, alright? This is a character that jumps to the audience and gets very meta, calls it out for what it really is. There's going to be a lot of references to Disney in here, to Kevin Feige, to actors and actresses, stuff around those lines. And you see the fourth wall breaking right in that trailer when he's like, oh look, Paul Rudd aged, when he sees the corpse of Ant-Man. But moving ahead, alright, this is where Joy Behar gets even more ridiculous. And I think a lot of it has to do, by the way, with the drama that happened behind the scenes with her cameo on The View, where Deadpool and Wolverine make fun of her and how that's now going to be included in the director's cut of Deadpool and Wolverine coming out later this year. She concludes, I think that's the problem in the world today, where you have studios that may be a bit misguided to what sells and what works for them when they are in a rut for business. It's just something that I think needs to be balanced, especially with these Marvel movies. Many of my friends and their young sons and daughters love Marvel, but I think the over-swearing is excessive for this new Deadpool movie. So, number one, Joy Behar has no clue what she's talking about. Number two, I'm sure a lot of this negativity is coming from a place, like I said before, of what happened with her involvement in Deadpool and Wolverine, where there was a contract agreement that they would be using archived footage of her on The View to place her on a television screen in a bar, in which both Deadpool and Wolverine mock the television host, mock Joy Behar herself. And in the end, she didn't like how the scene turned out to be, and it created a whole fuss, and everything got changed around. That's why that scene is going to be created more catered to the director's cut, where there's going to be no holding back on it at all. And that was the agreement in the end, to kind of balance things out in the long run between herself and Bob Iger. Now, look, at the same exact time, we know that there's a lot of things going on here with Deadpool and Wolverine. We also know that this is giving the opportunity for Shawn Levy to really get a lot more jobs over at Marvel Studios, either as a director or a writer, whatever it may be. They want to give him a directing opportunity for an upcoming Avengers film. That's one major thing happening right now. They want Shawn Levy in for a new Avengers movie, and Ryan Reynolds is also on a mission to really kind of reverse all the damage that was done to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 2025 may very well be shot in many areas, but he wants to really turn things around for 2026, 27, and beyond. But overall, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.